You might not realize it, but every single dollar you earn, every bit of good luck you breathe in, could be quietly leaking out of your home because of one small mistake that is silently draining your fortune day by day. Sometimes everything seems perfectly fine. You work hard, live an honest life, keep your home clean and tidy, yet money keeps slipping away, relationships become tense, and there is this vague sense of unease you cannot quite explain. This is not a coincidence. It is not fate either. More likely, the energy inside your home is stuck or stagnating, all because of one tiny oversight you have not even noticed. Something as simple as placing salt in the wrong spot. It sounds harmless, but in traditional feng shui and spiritual rituals, salt is far more than just a seasoning. It is an energy shield. When used correctly, salt absorbs bad energy, clears away bad luck, and invites prosperity. But if it is placed incorrectly, the consequences can slowly erode both your health and your family's fortune. In this video, I am going to share with you a special ritual that only needs to be done once, but can bring noticeable changes within 7 days. A practice once used by spiritual monks to cleanse and reset a living space. Watch until the end, because the timing of when you place the salt is more important than you might think. And if this resonates with you, do not forget to like, subscribe to the channel, and comment one positive message you would like to send to yourself today. Have you ever felt like something just is not right in your home? The air always feels damp and cold. People get tired easily, snapping at each other over nothing. Business does not go well. Money comes in, then vanishes. And no matter how often you clean, there is this invisible weight that seems to block every fresh start. The truth is, these are not random signs. They are symptoms of a kind of stagnant energy, what some call heavy or negative energy, quietly spreading through your living space. In ancient feng shui beliefs, a house is not just a shelter, it is a living organism. Every object out of place, every blocked flow of air or light can throw that organism out of balance. And when the energy inside your home is off, your life tends to go off track with it. There is one small, familiar item that carries an incredible power to influence energy: salt. In traditional rituals, salt has been used to sprinkle across the entrance to ward off negative spirits, cleanse hands after attending funerals, to cut ties with lingering energies, place under the bed to absorb bad dreams, anxiety, and sleeplessness. But here is the problem. If you place salt in the wrong location or leave it for too long without replacing it, it does the opposite of what it is supposed to. Instead of cleansing, the salt turns into a storage tank for toxic energy. It stops protecting you and starts silently spreading that negativity throughout your home. And the scary part? Most people have no idea this is happening. They put salt wherever they want, believing having salt is enough. But in reality, feng shui is not about whether or not you have it. It is about how and where you use it. In the next part, I will show you the exact spots where you should never place salt, and the specific places where, if you do it right, salt can unlock prosperity, protect your peace, and sweep away bad energy in just 7 days. Keep watching, because just a few minutes from now, you might feel inspired to rearrange your home today. There are little things in life we often overlook, until one day they become the very reason everything feels stuck. And salt, something as ordinary as salt, might just be the quiet trigger that throws your home's energy completely off balance. So many people wonder why luck keeps slipping through their fingers. They work hard, they are kind, they live right, but things still feel slow, heavy, and uncertain. It is as if a thin, invisible layer of fog has settled over their space, not something you can see or touch, but something you can absolutely feel. No matter how often they clean, how many times they open the windows to welcome sunlight, something still feels wrong. I once spoke with a woman living in the suburbs. She shared how, ever since moving into her new house, which looked perfectly fine on paper, She had felt this constant unease. Her young child became irritable and struggled with sleep. The houseplants began to wither even though she watered them regularly. Her relationship with her husband grew tense, with arguments arising over the smallest things. And the strangest part, every time she returned home after work, she felt drained, like the house was pulling her energy down. One day, while cleaning out a kitchen cabinet, she discovered a small bowl of salt tucked away deep in the corner. It looked like it had been there for ages, possibly left by the previous owners. The salt had changed color, absorbed moisture, and gave off a strange heavy smell, something between mold and rust. She said the moment she picked up that bowl, a chill ran down her spine. That same day, she threw it out, cleaned the area thoroughly, and opened every window in the house to let the air flow freely. From that point forward, little by little, things started to shift. The air inside the home felt lighter. Her child began sleeping peacefully again. The plants perked up with fresh new leaves. Even the arguments between her and her husband faded, as if some tension in the atmosphere had been released. She said she did not want to believe it at first, but after experiencing the change, she realized something important. Energy is real, even if we cannot see it. And if you do not take charge of the energy in your home, it will eventually take charge of you. The real issue here is not just about the bowl of salt. It is about unawareness, about leaving something in the wrong place without realizing it, about forgetting that every item in your home, no matter how small, carries a vibration of its own. And when salt, one of the most powerful conductors of energy, sits in a stagnant, toxic state for too long, it no longer protects you. It starts to work against you. Salt has long been known for its ability to absorb negative energy, cleanse vibrations, and stabilize the energy field of a space. But it is not a permanent guardian. It must be activated properly, placed intentionally, and most importantly, replaced once it has done its job. Think of it like a water filter. If you never change the cartridge, eventually the water coming through is going to be worse than before. So if you have ever placed a bowl of salt somewhere in your home and forgotten all about it, now is the time to check. Not just to clean, but to reflect on how you are interacting with your space. I know some people might say, I do not believe in this kind of stuff. But belief does not shape energy. Energy shapes belief through the way you feel in your own home, day after day. If you live in a place where the air feels heavy, where you cannot sleep well, where you do not feel restored after a long day, your house might be trying to send you a message. And sometimes, one small action, like placing a new bowl of salt in the right spot, can open the door to much bigger changes. And that is exactly what I'm going to share with you next, the 7-day salt ritual. A simple but incredibly powerful energy cleansing method that many families are using to unlock flow, invite peace, and protect what matters most. Some of the most powerful changes in life do not require money or modern tools. They only require one thing: your full presence in your own living space. And the salt ritual, when performed the right way, at the right time, with a respectful mindset, can shift the entire energy field of your home. Salt is an ancient symbol of purification, preservation, and the sacred bond between humans and nature. For thousands of years, cultures across the world, from east to west, have used salt to cleanse sacred places, but few people realize that placing salt in your home is not just about putting it there for show. It must be activated with awareness and intention. 1. Preparing the ritual. More than an action, it begins with intention. Start on a quiet morning. Avoid days when you feel disconnected, angry, or rushed. This is not a task for your to-do list. It is a sacred conversation between you and your home. Choose a morning before 7 o'clock a.m. when the day's energy is just beginning to rise. Use a clear glass bowl with no cracks. Add 3 tablespoons of coarse sea salt, not iodized salt, not refined table salt, because industrial salts have lost their raw natural energy. Then, pour in just enough filtered water to dampen the salt without dissolving it fully. The white of the salt, the transparency of the bowl, and the purity of the water represent wood, metal, and water. 3 elements that help reset energetic balance. When everything is ready, hold the bowl with both hands. Stand in the space where you plan to place it. Close your eyes. Take a deep breath. In your heart, speak a short, honest sentence. It does not have to be poetic, just sincere. For example, I ask to clear all stagnant energy. May all that no longer serves be released. I welcome flow, prosperity, peace, and light. If saying words feels difficult, silence is enough, as long as your heart is present. Pure intention is already the activation. 2. Choosing the right spot, where energy feels heaviest. There is no one-size-fits-all perfect feng shui location. Every space has its own energy. Every person feels their home in a unique way. Instead of following a textbook, ask yourself, where in this house feels the heaviest to me? Where do I avoid spending time? Some choose the bedroom, where restless sleep happens. Others choose the kitchen, where arguments seem to spark. Some choose the living room, where laughter used to echo, but now it feels flat. All of those are correct, because when you choose with intuition, you let energy guide you instead of logic. And that is the most flexible but powerful way to cleanse your space. Once you place the salt bowl, leave it for 7 days. Do not move it. Do not talk about it. Do not peek at it. This time is like a quiet meditation. The salt will gradually absorb what is stuck and restore a new energetic flow. 3. After 7 days, reading the results with your senses. After 7 full days, approach the bowl and look closely. If the water remains clear and the surface is calm, that is a great sign. Your home is balanced and energy is flowing. If the water has changed color, turned cloudy, smells strange, or looks crusted, then the salt has done its job. It has pulled in and neutralized dense, heavy energy. No matter the result, dispose of the salt with respect. Do not pour it into the sink. Do not throw it in the trash. Pour it gently into clean soil, not where plants grow, or release it into running water like a stream. As you do, whisper softly, "Thank you for the cleansing. I welcome new energy to enter from here." 4. Repeating and upgrading the ritual. When and how. You can repeat this ritual once a month, on the new moon or full moon, or any time your space starts to feel heavy again, after arguments, illness, mental burnout, or when you feel lost in your work or life. From the second time onward, if you want to amplify the effect, you can add the following. Light a white candle for 15 minutes right after placing the salt. Fire represents the element of fire. It accelerates transformation and movement. Add a few drops of natural essential oils like lemongrass, eucalyptus, or sweet orange in the area. The scent uplifts and raises the vibration of the space. Use incense or herbal smoke cleansing, especially with sandalwood, mugwort, or dried citrus peel. After placing the salt, do a gentle smoke round through the home to spread the clearing energy. But always remember, do not perform this ritual if your emotions are unstable. Salt is a conductor. It does not judge good or bad. It simply reflects the energy you bring. If you are angry, anxious, or doubtful, wait until your spirit has calmed before you begin. And before closing the cycle, whether the ritual worked or not, say thank you, out loud or in your heart. Thank the process. Thank the energy for shifting. Thank yourself for pausing and listening to the home you live in. When this becomes a conscious habit, your home is no longer just a place you stay. It becomes a space that heals you, nurtures you, protects you, and uplifts you. In the next part, we will go even deeper. Why does salt have such strong spiritual power? Why has it been a part of sacred cleansing rituals for thousands of years? And when you understand the deeper meaning behind salt, you will realize each bowl you place with care is a silent prayer for your own life. When you perform the salt ritual not out of fear, or because you feel like you have to, but because you genuinely want to connect with your space, at that moment, you are no longer just doing a ritual. You become part of the ritual. Your house is no longer just a structure of concrete and walls. It becomes a living presence, with memory, with feeling, and with soul. If you have ever felt like, the longer I live here, the more suffocated I feel, it is likely not because the house is too small, too old, or too cluttered. It is because the energy has not been cleared. Negative emotions, illness, stress, disappointment, these all leave traces in the energetic field, and without regular cleansing, they pile up and block every good thing that tries to enter. Salt will not fix everything, but salt can start everything. And sometimes one ritual performed with genuine presence can begin to untangle what has felt stuck for years. Some people, after this ritual, found the courage to clean a room they had ignored for a decade. Some reached out to reconnect with someone they had drifted from. Some simply cried, not out of sadness, but because finally they felt, I am returning to myself. You can perform the salt ritual quietly. No one needs to witness it. No one needs to agree with it. But what you create, even if unseen, will be felt by your space. Your home is the only place that will listen to you, even when you say nothing out loud. And if you continue this ritual as a natural part of your life, not too seriously, but never carelessly, you will start to notice something real. Energy begins to move. Good coincidences happen. The right people show up. Opportunities come gently, without struggle. And the weight you carried, it quietly fades without you forcing it. Because once energy is renewed, it naturally lets go of everything that no longer matches it. And finally, the most important thing to remember after every ritual, this is not a test to see whether the salt worked. It is a moment to ask yourself, how have I been living with this home? When you change the way you live with your space will change the way it supports you. See you in the next part, where we will uncover the deep symbolic meaning of salt and why it has been revered across centuries, cultures, and continents. What you learn next will make you see salt in a way you never have before. There is a reason why salt appears in nearly every ancient spiritual ritual, whether in a Tibetan monastery, a Shinto shrine in Japan, or a Catholic church in Europe. Salt is not just a mineral for seasoning. In spirituality, salt represents protection, life, and the power to restore order in the face of chaos. Since ancient Egypt, salt was used to preserve mummies, not just to keep the body intact, but to preserve the soul from fading. In the Bible, salt is described as an eternal covenant between humans and God. In Buddhism, monks scatter salt around meditation halls to block unwanted energies from entering. And in Vietnamese folk practices, salt is spread around the home after the Lunar New Year to sweep away the old. What makes salt so powerful is its very nature. It contains the essence of earth, water, and time. It comes from deep within the earth as raw mineral, is dissolved in salty oceans, and crystallized over millions of years. In a single grain of salt is the memory of an entire planet. When you use salt in a ritual, you are not just calling for cleanliness, you are reconnecting with an ancient memory where all chaotic frequencies are brought back into harmony. In other words, when you place salt in your home, you are doing something far greater than it seems. You are resetting the energy grid of your space. Just like people, every space has its own energy field, which can become tangled by past experiences, old stories, unhealed emotions, hidden pain, all leave traces. And salt, when placed with intention, acts as a bridge, helping you gently untangle each thread of that invisible web. What is fascinating is that no culture considers salt as purely positive or purely negative. Salt is neutral, but incredibly powerful. It does not attack darkness. It dissolves distortion. It does not summon light. It restores balance. And because of that, salt does not need to be worshipped. It only needs to be placed at the right time, in the right way, with the right heart. When you understand this, you will realize placing a simple bowl of salt in the corner of a room is not just a random act. It is your way of telling the universe, I choose to return to center. I choose calm. I choose to begin again. And in doing that, you do not just change your surroundings, you change the very structure of your inner energy. The deeper we go into spiritual history, the more we see that salt is not just a physical substance for cleansing. It is a still but powerful tool, able to reflect the exact state of the human soul and the spirit of a space. Placing a bowl of salt is, in essence, a form of meditation, where you pause, observe, and listen. Not just to the salt, but to yourself. Some schools of ancient feng shui believe that if, after 7 days, the salt bowl shows signs of crusting, white film, or changes in texture, those are messages from the space around you. Each shape, each shade, is like a letter from the universe. And if you are sensitive enough to read them, you will discover what is influencing you: unresolved pain, heavy energy from others, or your own inner imbalance. In Japanese tradition, salt is placed outside restaurants and shops to stabilize energy and attract harmonious customers. The belief is, where there is salt, there is balance. In sumo rituals, before each match, wrestlers toss salt into the air to purify the arena, cleansing the space of unseen interference. It is their way of reminding themselves, this is not just a physical fight, it is a battle of spirit and energy. In traditional Catholic homes, holy water is often mixed with salt to enhance its protective power. Sprinkling this mixture around the house is not just about physical cleanliness, it creates a spiritual barrier. All of this tells us, East or West, no matter the religion, salt is recognized as a bridge between the visible and the invisible worlds. Salt is not colorful, it has no fragrance, yet it exists as a lasting symbol, quiet, unassuming, but deeply powerful. It reminds us that true strength often lies not in what is loud or grand, but in what is pure. In the human body, blood is salty. Tears are salty. Both represent life and emotion. Perhaps that is why, deep in our subconscious, we recognize salt as part of ourselves. When we place salt in our homes, we may unknowingly be reconnecting with our most honest self, the part untouched by noise, suffering, or calculation. A place where only the raw truth remains. I am alive. I am vibrating. I am healing. That is why this salt ritual is not just about clearing the energy of a home. It is also about cleansing the soul. When the house is clear, the heart is calm. When the salt settles, the life brightens. That is not magic. That is mindfulness. And if you have ever felt that your home felt lighter, warmer, or brighter after this ritual, then perhaps it was not just the home that changed. It was you. In many modern spiritual traditions, salt is seen as soul food, not because it feeds the body, but because it calls us back to our most natural, raw, and sacred state. When you place salt and watch it settle day by day, you are also learning to live slowly, deeply, and presently. The crystallization of salt after 7 days can even be seen as a metaphor for spiritual growth, from chaos to stillness, from invisible to visible, from formless energy to tangible structure. When you witness salt transform, ask yourself, what part of me is changing too? What in my life needs to crystallize again? What must I let go of? What pain have I been carrying that I have not yet cleansed? Salt is a mirror. It does not shine, but it reflects. It does not preach, but it reveals. And in every ritual you perform, you are the one stepping through that mirror, returning to the deepest parts of yourself. When a bowl of salt is placed with true intention, it does not just sit there. It becomes an energy anchor, a point where chaos can gather, be absorbed, and be transformed, without noise, without attention. That is why so many people say, "I do not know why, but ever since I placed that salt, my home feels lighter." And in that silence, salt does its work. Like a hidden teacher, it does not force you to change. It does not lecture you. But through its stillness, it teaches you to live with more depth. It shows you that not every problem needs a complicated solution. Sometimes all it takes is a strong, grounded presence, like a bowl of salt, to begin the journey of healing. Perhaps that is why the ancients never treated salt as ordinary. In weddings, salt symbolizes lasting union. In funerals, salt cleanses lingering grief. In housewarming ceremonies, salt signals a new beginning, built on a clean foundation. In other words, salt is the symbol of what is simple, but solid, what is silent, but transformational. And if one day you feel tired, lost, or overwhelmed, try placing a bowl of salt. Do not ask for anything. Just be present. And then, listen. Linda was a woman in her early 50s, living alone in a small apartment in the suburbs after a long and painful divorce. She used to be strong, working in finance, managing intense schedules, balancing career demands with raising her 2 grown sons. She had it all together. But when her sons moved out to start lives of their own, and when work no longer consumed her every hour, Linda began to feel an unfamiliar emptiness. She said she no longer recognized herself. Each morning felt like a battle, not because she had nothing to do, but because she no longer felt like doing anything. She had no energy. The home, once warm and filled with life, now felt cold, heavy, like it was holding something she could not name. For a while, she thought she might be slipping into depression. One night, while scrolling online, she came across a video about the salt ritual in feng shui, something she used to dismiss as superstition. But for some reason this time, she stopped and listened. She was not fully convinced, but she had nothing to lose. She followed the instructions: a clear glass bowl, sea salt, filtered water. She placed it in the corner of her bedroom, the same spot where she often woke in the night, feeling pinned down and breathless. She told no one. She expected nothing. 7 days passed. When she checked, the salt water had changed color. A cloudy white film had formed, and the energy in the bowl felt different. But more importantly, she felt different. By the 3rd night, she began sleeping more soundly. She no longer woke up startled. The room felt brighter, not from the light, but from the freshness in the air. She found herself tidying up, opening the windows more often. And little by little, her mind felt less heavy. Today, Linda performs the salt ritual as part of her monthly routine. Each time she places the bowl, it is not just about cleansing the space, it is how she checks in with herself. If the salt crystallizes quickly, she knows her body and soul need rest. If it remains clear, she knows she is balanced. She is not superstitious, but she knows this ritual is a quiet way to return, to listen, and to care for herself in silence. Linda's story is not magical, but it is real. And for anyone who has ever felt their home grow colder, their emotions clouded like a quiet fog, maybe a simple bowl of salt is the beginning of a healing journey you never saw coming. We do not need something grand to begin a transformation. Sometimes, just a small bowl of salt, placed with intention, is enough to whisper, "It is time to clear out, to let go, and to refresh both your space and your spirit." Salt is not magic, but it is a symbol of returning to what is pure, simple, and steady. When you place it with sincerity, you are allowing yourself to begin again, quietly, gently, and deeply. If today you feel there is something inside you that longs to be released, try this ritual. And if this message resonates with you, leave a comment. I am ready to renew the energy in my life. Do not forget to like, share, and subscribe for more deeply grounded spiritual practices that are both meaningful and easy to apply. Thank you for staying with me until this moment. See you in the next journey.